Hey there. So closing high ticket clients through cold outreach is easy. Before I say any more, who is this guy right now? Who's talking to you? Who's making this bold claim? Well, my name is Garrett Miller, and I'm the CEO of Delta Lead, a lead gen agency owner turned product market fit consultant. In November of 2023, I hit my first $10,000 month after pivoting to consulting, primarily through LinkedIn cold outreach. Now, here's actually a screenshot here to prove that. Now, in December, I actually closed my first $10,000 client within 5 days of launching my high ticket offer to a cold lead on one call by achieving product market fit to boast a 94% profit margin. There's also some proof there to show that. So through cold outreach, I closed my first $10,000 client in just 5 days of launching my offer, and it was an entirely cold lead. We closed it on one call. So let me dive into this video, exactly how I did it, step by step, so you can do the same. So that being said, it all starts with ideally the avatar, right? We'll get into that here in a moment, but basically we need to understand the current state and the goal state of the person you're actually selling to and selling your high ticket offer to, right? And you can do that and qualify that through cold outreach basically by understanding first and foremost if this person fits your general demographics. When you're going out there, you build your list of people, you're reaching out to them, you're sending messages. You want to make sure they actually fit the specific demographics for your avatar, your who, your ideal client, different ways to call it, right? So do they actually fit the demographics? Are they in a certain revenue range? Are they in a certain geography? Are they a certain job title? Are they in a certain industry? You need to make sure that that box is checked first and foremost, okay? Now, are they trying to achieve a specific goal that you could in theory help them with? And if not, disqualify, right? Are they trying to reach a certain goal state that you can actually help them achieve? And then are they struggling to actually achieve that goal? Are they in pain? If not, disqualify, right? You want to make sure that they're actually facing issues. If they're trying to reach a goal state and they're well on their way to doing so, well, then you can't really help them, right? You could, but it's just going to be a little bit more of a difficult of a sale. Now, optional, then you have the option to actually teach. So your expertise, your value, sending a message back and forth. I clearly understand where you're coming from. This is how I actually solved that. Sharing a lead magnet here to build big trust, and then going in and actually having them confirm they want to fix the problem soon, and then you book a call. It really is this simple high level. And when it comes down to actually building out your avatar, very, very simply to look at it is the high value who, the person you're actually serving that you're wanting to sell your high ticket offer to, understanding their current state. What do their business demographics look like? What do their actual demographics look like? What does their day-to-day activities look like? What are some of the emotions, frustrations, fears that they're dealing with in both the current state and the goal state? If you want a more in-depth training on that, you can actually check out my LinkedIn profile. It'll be at the top, high value who, your high value avatar. Defining that, you can click on it, it'll bring you to a video. And for those of y'all watching this on YouTube, it's going to be down in the description for you to check it out. But basically, having that foundation is the absolute first step. Don't go into cold outreach or do anything else to do. You have those pieces, but very, very quickly, you can get a current understanding how you can actually define the current state and the goal state, right? So once you actually have that defined, then we come over here. This is actually going to be my avatar information filled in, right? So I'm serving coaches, consultants, or fractional CXOs doing between $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and they're the CEO of their business, right? They need to fit all this criteria before I can actually move them forward and continue to qualify them over cold outreach to actually put them on a call. Going through this process is actually going to qualify them. They're going to be showing up on this call to me pre-qualified. That being said, well, let's hop into more of it here. So are they trying to reach the specific goal, right? So the goal state, in this case, they want a high ticket offer. They want to move away from hourly work, right? They see value in LinkedIn. They want to create an effective sales channel. They want clarity and direction in their sales and marketing actions to take every single day. These are some of the goals they have. They're currently not experiencing, but they're working towards, okay? So if they fit that, great, we'll move on. Are they struggling with actually achieving this goal? Are they in pain? Well, they're so busy they can barely breathe. They are getting paid hourly, one-on-one time for their money. They have a commoditized offering. Maybe they just have low ticket work. They're not working with the type of clients they actually want to. Or they don't know how to use Sales Navigator. They want to use it for LinkedIn, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. They want to use it for lead gen, but they're unsuccessful, right? Or they're getting business only from referrals. They have no clue where to focus, no clue what to do when it comes to actually bringing on new clients. So this is where they're actually struggling here, okay? So now, optional, this is where you can then share a lead magnet. This is where you can then, hey, I completely understand what you're going through. Here's what I did. This is what I actually did, broken down, build it foundationally. Share your expertise, share your advice, give them something of value, provide value here. You want to provide value to build the know, like, and trust, especially when you're doing cold outreach and you're reaching out to these strangers. Beyond that, have them confirm they actually want to fix this problem. They're interested in learning more. Then you have the option to book a call. Now, there's one more layer to this. How are we actually going to ask certain questions to uncover these certain pieces and get the prospect or the lead to tell us about their business, and do so in a conversational way that builds rapport, builds trust, allows you to show up as the trusted advisor. Okay. So you can lead in with some initial questions like this. Are you trying to reach 5 figures a month, 5 figures a month, right? Or are you already there and looking to scale? Using some industry language here. You can also use B2B, B2C, hourly, project-based. I'm talking to coaches, consultants here for the most part. So I'm trying to use their language to resonate with them and show up as a trusted advisor. Now, the next step, how are your services structured? Are they hourly? Are they project-based? Again, you want to make sure you're actually, if we come a little bit further here, that you're actually not shotgunning them questions. You want to acknowledge what they're saying and then ask another question. You want to keep it conversational. You want to empathize with them, but then make sure you're moving them down this flow to qualify them as a sales opportunity. So not only are you learning more about them and their business, but you're also making them feel seen and heard, like you're actually showing up and wanting to help them and know how you can actually take them to the next steps, right? And there's some general other questions you can ask to fulfill the same sort of need and understanding demographics over here, right? And then also their goal state. Now, struggling. This is huge. This message here will usually give me a couple paragraph response diving into their pains and their issues and what they're dealing with, right? So what's been the biggest issue so far with growth? Sometimes we hear from service providers, they're too reliant on referrals. Other times it's more about how time consuming or manual the sales processes are. Curious to hear what your story is. Now, imagine if I showed up and just asked this question to somebody. Like, who's this clown, right? Who's this guy showing up in my DMs? Like, he's asking me what issues with growth are? Like, what is he even talking about? That question's so broad. But when I go in and I expand upon this, because now that I know they fit a certain demographic range up here at the top, I can say with pretty much 90% confidence that they're dealing with one of these issues around having a manual sales process or the fact that they're too reliant on referrals, right? So now when I ask that, I'll usually get a couple paragraphs versus a ghost. Someone not responding to me, right? I definitely don't want that. And then this is where I'll provide value, give them a lead magnet, give them a valuable video, give them something that they can get quick actionable value from to build more trust, or just empathize with them and say, hey, here's what I did to do that. And then you're able to naturally lead it into here. Don't go ahead and read all that. There's just a lot here. There's a few different options that I've been kind of testing around with. But basically, a good way to look at it is I actually have a solution, or, another piece here is, if you'd like, I can actually show you the systems that I use to achieve product market fit, get my first 2 clients, as well as my current sales process to generate meetings on demand and close clients consistently. This would be complimentary, of course. Would that be valuable to you? Right? So usually this is the kind of meat that I'll go in with. And honestly, to stop y'all from being confused, let me get rid of all this other crap here. All right. So with that being said, these are the options that you really have, right? And so basically, we'll then lead in with that piece there, right? And that will generate meetings consistently. We've already done a ton of qualification here, moving them forward in the process. And then you're saying, hey, I can actually show you what I'm doing. You're not saying you're going to sell them anything yet, right? But let me show you what I actually did, making sure that sales call is going to be really valuable to them and help them get some actionable advice. And then you have the opportunity to go for a call. So really that simple is the entire flow, breaking it down, how you can actually generate and close high ticket clients through cold outreach. Now, we're not done yet. Cold outreach is a numbers game. It's volume. I'm going to be sending out a lot of these messages, but not everyone's going to respond. But we need to make sure that we're actually hitting the metrics that we need to hit to get the kind of replies that we want, to get the amount of clients that we want, to generate the amount of revenue that we want. So it actually comes into the third piece, tracking metrics. This is very, very, very important. And you can actually access this metric sheet here within my membership. Once you actually go and watch that high value avatar training that I was telling you about, you can check that out. You can join the membership. And this is part of the product market fit protocol course where I'm giving away all this information for free. Okay. So basically you come in here, the outreach volume calculator. What you want to do is put in some general metrics here to understand, what kind of numbers you actually need to be hitting to close the amount of clients that you actually want. Before I go into what is SDR, GFR, SUR, let me actually explain that really quick. So positive reply rate, PRR, that stands for positive reply rate, right? For the total number of connection requests you're sending out, cold emails you're sending out, touch points you're sending out, initial touch points going out. Positive reply rate means the amount of people that are actually giving you a positive reply, not interested, not a ghost, right? Giving you a positive reply to move things forward. And that is going to be the percentage of those messages out of the total number of touch points. Then after that, you go into appointment booking rate. So again, out of the total number of touch points, again, total number of cold emails, cold number of connection requests sending out, you want to have a certain percentage of actually appointments that are being booked from the total number of touch points you're actually having, right? And then beyond that, this actually goes into the closing, right? So the show up rate, what percentage of the meeting books are people actually showing up to? And then of the people that actually show up, how many of them are a good fit? And then of the total meetings, how many of them are actually turning into sales opportunities? Now, these are percentages that you need to be tracking because, again, outreach is a numbers game, input in, output out, right? And you can actually have control over the quality and the leverage of those inputs, but you need to track. You cannot go into cold outreach, especially selling a high ticket offer or any sort of offer without tracking metrics. It's like driving blind. It's not going to work. Not going to be pretty. You make sure that you actually track your metrics. Okay. So without going further into that as of this time, I'll talk about KPIs in a second. You can actually now use the outreach volume calculator here. So you have a yearly goal of reaching $240,000 and each client is worth $10,000 to you, right? That is the value of your high ticket offer, the price you're charging, whatever that is. You can put in your own numbers here when you get access to the product market fit protocol. Now, the sales conversion rate is about 15%, for example. These right here, these are industry averages. You need to put your own numbers in here. Once you actually get out here, you track these metrics and you get your own numbers that you can replace these with. But to start, these are good conservative benchmarks that you can actually use. So say your conversion rate is 15%. Out of all the calls you're booking, you're closing 15% of them. Then the good fit rate, out of all the calls people are actually showing up to, 60% of them are good fits. And then show up rate, out of all the calls you book, 70% of people are actually showing up. And then appointment booking rate, out of all the total messages and touch points you send, 2.5% are actually booking a meeting, right? So once you actually have that, the calculator here will spit out some math. It'll give you some processes to where it'll say you need 24 clients. You need 160 good fit calls. You need 266 show-ups. You need 380 bookings. That it comes down to 15,000 DMs per year, right? And if we actually divide that 15,000 by 261, which is the total number of weekdays, during the week, if you're messaging people, corporate job, they're working a job, you're probably messaging them during the week. You can go ahead and divide that by 261. And what that comes out to is 58 DMs per day. Now that is new touch points. That is new cold emails. That is not, it could be, you could consider it to be, going back through your connections, but no, I want this to be new DMs to new people, new touch points. All right. Follow up is in addition to that, in addition to this number. Okay. So now that makes sense, let's quickly go over KPIs and then show you an example of what this spreadsheet can look like in action. So positive reply rate here. As you can see right now, it's 0%. This is averages, nothing here, but you want to be hitting around 10 to 20%. So out of all the messages you're sending out, all the total touch points, you want to be getting around 10 to 20% of people who are actually positively replying to those messages. And if they're not, then you want to go ahead and look at the positive reply rate. And I'll show you how you can actually use these to influence your efforts and when it comes to focusing on what to do with cold outreach. Now, the next point is average appointment booking rate. You want this to be around 1.5 to 5%. Average show up rate, you want this to be around 50 to 90% out of all the calls you book, 50 to 90% are showing up. Then good fit rate, about 40 to 70%. And then average sales conversion rate, this can be 10, 50% if you're a monster, you're crushing it, really qualified calls, right? So that being said, now what you're able to do, let me show you a few examples and how you can actually take this actual information and make tweaks to your messaging to show up and do cold outreach better to close those high ticket clients. Now, let me show you an example. Before we get too far into this, let me come down here and show you what the metrics actually look like, right? So total, we have 400 touch points, right? Going out, say you send 400 connection requests, say you send 400 emails, whatever the total number is, all added up, that'll be the total touch points at the end of the month or whatever that may be. I would recommend tracking monthly, as you can see down here. And then you can put the total number of positive replies, which is tracked by putting a lead into this actual sheet here, entering a date and then entering information there. You come down a little bit further, the meetings booked. So when you actually check, someone shows up for a meeting booked, you'll see that you can actually use that there. Let me actually back out a little bit. This will be easier to see. Okay. So when someone actually books a meeting, then you hit check, right? And I'll kind of show you the process broken down here in a moment. But then meetings showed, good fits, that actually breaks down to your percentages. So we'll come back to this here in a moment. But basically, how you use this sheet is you track the total number of touch points, right? You don't track each lead individually because that would be a hassle. Most are going to not answer. I mean, depending on what list you're targeting, how warm they are. Some will not answer. Some will not respond. Some will give you no interest. We want to only put a lead into this sheet when somebody positively replies. Okay. So now we put that data in there. Then we put the source, actually, LinkedIn Outreach. You can come to the overview section here, go into that more and actually add new pieces in there. You want to add the source. Then you want to add if it's a referral, who it's from, right, to help you track things. Then a lead name, what their name is. If they're quoted a certain amount of revenue. And then actually, if you get revenue, close them by having a deal here. Then you put the revenue there, right? So now when it comes to the status, before a meeting is booked, there are three main stages when it comes to having a conversation, right? So the discovery phase, proposing a call, and then sending a Calendly link, right? So discovery phase, you're asking those questions that I recently broke down to you. Proposing a call, you're going into how to actually, you're saying, hey, would you mind if we got a meeting, or would this sound good to you, right? And then going in, actually sending them the Calendly. Now, once you do that, you send the Calendly. If they don't book a meeting, then you need to follow up with them. But if they do, then you can check it off as meeting booked, right? If they show up to the meeting, they showed up, they're a good fit, check good fit. And then you have the option at any point, even if you're over here in the discovery phase, to select a certain follow-up, or even if they're a good fit, you can still be following with them after the call. And you want to make sure you track that as well. Now, say they're all good fit, it all goes through, send Calendly, the whole process looks good. You close them, it's a deal, select deal, and then the revenue, right? Fantastic. If they fall off after 3 follow-ups, they become dead at this point, right? Or say, for example, you sent them meeting booked, they showed up, but they weren't a good fit, right? Or you sent the meeting booked, you sent the Calendly, they booked, but they didn't show up, right? All these metrics are here. Now, if you come down here, it actually shows how many closed deals you have and how many total dead deals you have, the total number of deals currently. It shows you all your revenue from what source, which is very, very important to actually track where you're getting your leads from. That's where you want to be spending more time. But then finally, this is broken down in metrics. So again, from earlier, say, for example, we sent out 400 total touch points. As you can see at the top, because we had 22 people tracked in here, that's 22 positive replies. We had 9 people book meetings, 7 showed, 5 are good fits. And this now is broken down into the rates. So what's fantastic is now that we see that this is a 5.5, right? If we come back to the overview, we want to see that to be about 10 to 20. So that means the touch points, they need to be picking up a notch, right? They need to be better. They need to reach out to the right people, right? Are we actually reaching out to the right avatar? Are we qualifying them properly? Are we sending the right initial message that hooks their attention? Because 5.5 is a little bit too low, right? ABR, that fits in KPIs. So that's good to see with the number of positive replies that we're actually getting from the total touch points, which basically means in this case that we're not getting as many actually positive replies, but from those positive replies, we're getting more meetings booked. And the show up rate, which means, okay, that's solid. You want to see that more than 50%, so that's good to see. Then the good fit rate out of the people who actually show up, 71% are good fit. The conversion rate out of the total number of meetings booked, 22% are actually closing into clients. So I cannot stress this enough. Whether you're tracking it in this sort of sheet, whether you're tracking it in a CRM, whether you're using automation software and tracking percentages in there, if you're doing any form of cold outreach, you need to be tracking your metrics. You will not be able to come back and do a post-mortem or understand that what you're actually doing is working or not, right? You could be out there saying, I'm getting replies, right? I'm sending 10,000 messages and I got 3 replies. Yes, man, yes. That's trash. That is a trash positive reply rate. So unless you're actually tracking these metrics, total touch points, positive replies, meeting books, meeting showed, good fits, deals closed, you're not going to be able to show up and do cold outreach effectively. Okay, so I can't emphasize enough. Again, if you want to access this document, this is actually within the product market fit protocol within my free membership. So like I said, if you want to learn more about this process, take action, implement this on yourself, I actually have a whole section on outreach, breaking this entire process down so you can do this yourself and close your first $10,000 plus client. With that being said, you can check out the link to the initial video, which then links to the community from my LinkedIn profile at the very top. Or if you are watching this on YouTube, it'll be down in the description where you click on that, view that video. It'll help you actually formulate your high value avatar. And then you can click to join the community and you'll get access to the product market fit protocol. So that being said, it's been an absolute pleasure to walk you through this process. Again, cold outreach is how I've closed $10,000 clients in one call. Through the process is how I've generated pretty much 90% plus of my revenue is through LinkedIn cold outreach. It's fantastic. It's easy to close high ticket clients. You just have to make sure you have the right systems in place to help you succeed. So that being said, I will catch y'all in the next video. Take care.